Well, there are three journalists seated here in the studio. Earlier on Newsfile, we heard a reference being made about journalists and how we've infiltrated the system and are playing various roles in the whole big mix. Well, my name is Nathaniel Attoh, and I'm here in the company of Sadiq Adams, also known as Obama, who's the head of Angel Sports, and the director of communications of the Ghana Football Association, who has also, who previously was playing various roles as a broadcaster and also a club PRO. These gentlemen have something in common. Well, there have been major conversations this week about the direction of our football, and this is born out of the performance that the Black Stars recorded at the just ended Africa Cup of Nations. Later today, we'll be discussing another matter that is pressing very heavily on our necks, and it's the upcoming Africa Games of 2023, and this we're supposed to host. Now, the main facility in Botiman has been commissioned by His Excellency the President, Nana Addo Akufo-Addo. What else is left to be done? We've got just about 2 weeks to go, and so we need to get everything sorted. We need to test our facilities, and we need to be ready organization-wise. The chairman of the local organizing committee, Dr. Kweku Fosu-Asare, will be here later on. But right now, would want to delve a little more into the conversation that was started on Newsfile. Gentlemen, thank you very much. And just for the relevance of the conversation we're having, we do remember that the Save Our Football demonstration that was held was put together by a number of journalists. Now, one of them is Sadiq Adams. Now, Henry Asante Chum is the director of the Ghana FA, and he will be tackling all of this from the perspective of the Ghana Football Association. Sadiq, you tell me about the response, okay, and what message it sent to you, the kinds of responses you got on the streets, and the numbers that joined you, and the kinds of conversation that went on as you embarked on the march.
What I think has been overwhelming for the conveners and everybody who loves football. It's gone beyond their expectations, but of course, it also speaks to the interest in football in the country. Nobody can say that the interest has died. People are doing this because of the pump-up frustration. They just want event to let their spleens off and reason why they came to join. But in other areas of the response, I think we all will be very happy and interested in what has gone on with respect to discussions in the most popular and powerful quarters. This is what we want, to provoke a conversation around investment in sports, around the growth of our game, experts and people who have the power to change. It cannot be a particular agency or body's responsibility to change the nature and state of our sport or football. It is a collective effort, and I'm glad that various quarters, parliamentarians, chiefs, political shows are discussing the need for a reform, the need to grow the game, and provoking a conversation like this and generating interest from quarters that didn't previously have any interest in it. It's something that we should all be proud, because it is profound to note that maybe, just maybe, it can be the watershed moment for our football. If you don't provoke the conversation that we don't have this, we need to do this, we need to do that, for the Ghana Football Association to also set up, for the Ministry of Sports and NSA to know their various specific roles and responsibilities. Perhaps there are bodies and institutions that think that the trend is okay. Our level is okay. We do not need to do anything extraordinary to grow the game. So if you look at the response from the quarters, the conversation is generated, and the steps that are being taken, I don't know, but we can only hope that it gets to a point where changes, radical changes are made, institutions are finally taking up their responsibility, and then we get the game back to where we belong.
Well, very shortly would have to release Sadiq Adams, because he is also supposed to be on air very, very shortly, but we're very grateful for the time. Henry, you have made mention of a response by your outfit, which is the Ghana FA, that there is going to be a certain level of engagement with the conveners of this demonstration. Beyond that, what else are we going to see in terms of the action points?
Well, thank you very much, Nat. I have read the details of what they sent to the FA. A number of issues were raised by the conveners of the demonstration. Portion talking about accountability, issue about grassroots football, policy on ownership of clubs, infrastructure development, schools and colleges, and what have you. I am glad that some of these interventions have already been embarked upon in our own small way by the Football Association. It is also important to note that when things are not going well, you don't expect the people to be happy. For instance, we cannot return from back-to-back AFCON group stage exit and expect Ghanaians to be happy. I think we'll be lying to ourselves if we keep that notion or if we have that, notion in mind. It is also good to understand that once the people are always following the game with their hearts and their emotions, you expect them to express that emotions when things don't go well. In this case, the last AFCON in Cameroon, group stage exit, this time around, group stage exit, and that is not where we belong. However, it's also important to mention that we haven't been good for some time now. Is because attention to detail in terms of infrastructure, in terms of development, in terms of youth, the basic level, technical area, coaching, and what have you, were actually thrown to the dogs back in the day. But we are trying to streamline things and get things back on track. So yes, all the concerns they have raised are things that are very dear.
Okay, so you are saying that all of these areas that you've mentioned that are aspects of our football, which create a very solid foundation, were faulty back then,
Well,
but are being put on track now.
Of course. I mean, we recently announced, for instance, in Winkogo, through the support of FIFA. Today we have started an academy that is taking care of the three northern regions, in Bogatanga in the Upper East region.
I have a very, I have this question to ask about the whole academy system, and I'll bring it to you. But we need to take final thoughts from, so that he can just rush off. Sadiq, the FA have been receptive, of the feedback. They have demonstrated it. They sent the FA's scribe to the grounds and all of that. Now, what is the next line of action for yourself and for the conveners of this? What would you want to see the FA do beyond that projected or that planned, engagement with you?
Well, let me first of all use the platform. I think we've been making preparations to get in touch with them. We have sent them a petition, and we don't need to follow up, but get a response from them like we got from Parliament and the other bodies. But what I can say is that there were some incidents that happened in our absence, the absence of the leadership when the GFA scribe went there to take the petition. Actually, we had not invited the GFA. We wanted to use another means because we saw the anger and rage, and we didn't want to. Throughout the demonstration, it had been peaceful, but we understand they came there in our absence, and there were a group of people who went rowdy, and so we need to apologize for that on behalf of the people. I don't think that was the intent reason why everything was peaceful throughout the demonstration. And also, when you say the Ghana Football Association has been receptive, I think that is just generalizing it in an aspect.
Well, I'm just referring to the happenings of the week, not general feedback.
No. Yeah. Even within the happenings of the week, the first comment from one of the executive committee members of the association was rather insulting.
That the demonstration was not properly organized. Is that it? Is that the one from Nana Safo?
Were slave queens. There is a tape recording of that, where slave queens were pregnant women who didn't understand anything about football. When the first official comments,
those are very unfortunate
from and you expect, because the GFA is governed by code of ethics. Reason why not people who attended demonstration can attest to the fact. I was going through picking up placards that were offensive and that were of personal attacks, and that were of political had political features and other stuff. We didn't want to go into those areas and lose the gravity of the events that we were doing.
And to add to that, and Henry, to be fair to them, I mean, I'm a host. I'm in the middle. So, but to be fair to them, I do remember that during the week I had an interview with Songo, and he mentioned clearly on Sports Today, it's on record.
Right.
He warned a couple of times while I interviewed him that nobody should come there thinking that they are coming to fight anybody, and that it would not be.
And we ensured in the 4-hour demonstration, we ensured that there were no placards or insults. People can go about and mention one or two, but from official position of the organizers. So we don't feel that it is respectful for an executive council member of the association to go this tangent and still continue without being reprimanded publicly, because this is something that he did publicly hours after the demonstration, when Parliament was still discussing the petition. You go on air and you take this approach. You defeat whatever the communications team or the association in their capacity comes out, being respective of the petition. So I think you cannot blanket say they have been receptive and respectful to the fans who walked. There were old women who did the 7-kilometer walk, who loved Ghana football, whose role have elevated some of you to the position that you were. Because without Ghana football, without these supporters, some of the executive committee members will not be there. You are there holding the game in trust of its consumers. And if they want to vent their spleen and displeasure, being so in a cordial manner and peaceful manner, you don't come out at the end of the demonstration to describe them, first of all, as slave queens. And we are trying to write to the appropriate bodies to take action. Not even the Ghana Football Association, but to describe women who attended as slave queens and as pregnant women who are ignorant of football. This is not something that should come from a GFA executive council member who is being bound by code of ethics. And he defeated the purpose for which the GFA even came there to receive. Because if you describe the petitioners and the demonstrators in such manner and walk there, the next time there is a demonstration, how do you want because there are people who have not listened to Henry today. There are people who have only listened to what that executive council member has said. And this is going to stay with them forever. The next time you invite them to come to the stadium, are you inviting slave queens? Are you inviting women who are pregnant and ignorant and who understand nothing about football, reason why they joined the demonstration? How do you want the parliamentarians who received the petition, the GFA itself that received the petition, the NSA and the ministry, how do you describe people like that? Because we appended our signatures to the petition, but we did that on behalf of the people of Ghana who joined us. I think that this is not fair, that the Football Association has seen this comment. Some of them have listened to it and have not taken any action against them when they clearly know that the demonstration was peaceful, did not attack any person personally. There were no abuses of. I'm not sure that is what we intended to do. So it is very unfair that the executive council member goes on this tangent and he has not been in any way publicly reprimanded, and we will write to the right bodies to see how far this goes.
All right, Henry, your response?
I haven't heard the interview. I haven't listened to the audio. So I don't even know which platform he spoke on,
Right.
because in the course of the week a lot is been happening and some of us have been engaged a lot, and so let me say that for the Football Association, at least I am privy to a meeting between myself, the General Secretary, and the President utterly instructed the General Secretary to officially respond to the petitioners and then take steps for an official meeting between the leadership of the FA and the conveners of the demonstration. So I would like to place on record that it is unfortunate to hear a board member of the FA speak in that manner. It is very, very unfortunate, and I would like to apologize to the people of Ghana for such an unsavory comment. It is not the position of the Football Association. The position of the Football Association is what I have already espoused, and that is what we must all be cognizant of. In the absence of that, we totally agree with the the position of the conveners in some of the issues they have raised in terms of reforms. I think that is what we all need to get our football back to where we belong. The president and the leadership have also tried as much as possible to get things done. Some of the things I spoke about, I know for a fact that Pram Pram is top of that list. Infrastructure is another area. Technical aspect of the game must improve in terms of coaching, in terms of refereeing. Infrastructure is not the best, and it's another area we also need to tackle. I felt very much ashamed when we arrived in Kumasi and I visited the Babayara Stadium with the technical team then, or the former technical team, led by Chris Houghton, George Boateng, Didi Dramani. And right in my presence, they mentioned that, Henry, this is not where we want to train because this pitch is not good enough for our players. I was very much ashamed. And then 20 minutes later, we arrived at Abrankese and the coach decided, well, this is also not top-notch, but it's better than Babayara, so we have to just do with it. And so it is what it is. Yes, we know there is infrastructure gap. I have always mentioned that I do not understand why we have produced Asamoah Gyan, Akwesi Usu, Danro Usu, Kwesi Appiah, and all those players from the Bronga Afro region, and there is no single quality stadium in the entire BA region. Not only in the BA, but other parts of the country. And you also want to elevate the discussion beyond just the infrastructure and think about maintenance and think about how to put it in good shape and think about making it useful to society. So there are a number of areas that need urgent attention, and that is the official position of the Football Association.
While we go on, just remember that it's +233 55 11 That is the WhatsApp line. Once again, 055 997. I'm sure you've got loads and loads of thoughts on this particular matter, and that which we'll be discussing in the course of the show. That will be concerning the Africa Games and how ready we are on the ground and how good we are to go with 2 weeks. Remember that our neighbors in Cote d'Ivoire have done something of a masterpiece when it comes to the organization of a tournament. I mean, these two gentlemen seated next to me were there. When it comes to infrastructure, at least, I mean, we're not saying that it was perfect, because at least we also heard some few comments come in there in terms of organization. But then Cote d'Ivoire have got the world talking. And the next, point of attraction is Ghana. And we're told that we are supposed to be recording some billions of eyeballs in terms of views around the world.
Yeah, 2.2 billion.
Yes.
That's the estimated eyeballs. That's the African Games. But not before I take leave of you. I think that we should have used this opportunity to put up a modern stadium.
Okay.
I think we have missed a very big opportunity to put up the stadium that we had earmarked to put up in Boteman. We may find it difficult to get such opportunity because we know, per our culture and standards, we always do these things when we are under pressure. No government will invest $200 or $300 million in a stadium when it is not under any pressure to host an event. And we haven't hosted this event since 1965. So the opportunity came, and we had drawings and the estimations for a stadium to be constructed in the shape. I saw the design, and it was, practically what we had always been campaigning for. But I don't know what happened, if it is in terms of resources, because the amount of money that was, we saw the estimated cost of the stadium was around
$200 million.
$200 million.
And this one cost 145.
145.
For a multi-purpose.
Yeah, 200.
That would have served.
Yes.
Okay.
The document is there. Was the contract was awarded and all that. So I don't know why we are hosting the event with separated facilities at Boteman. That cost over $140 million, and we cannot put up a 200 million facility. Yeah,
the difference is not much.
The difference is not much, and we could have gotten this national stadium to serve every purpose, a multi-purpose sports stadium that we have clamored for years. So it's very difficult to understand how we arrived, because Legon Stadium is you go to South Africa, Cote d'Ivoire, Robert Chamfro Stadium in Cote d'Ivoire. It's like a university school. I mean, stadium. You cannot use that for the economic impact that you want to push sports to.
And even I'm told it's not ready.
That's not ready. But the problem is that why? We need explanation. We need to promote the games. We need to make sure that we host, like you said, the standard has already been set by our next door neighbors. We need to do that, but we need to also probe into why we have set up this satellite facilities in Boteman at the expense of constructing a stadium that was initially $150 million and rose to $200 million. But we have put up these facilities that could have been part of the multi-purpose facility for $200 million. It's quite surprising and shocking, but maybe the organizers will be in the best position to explain perhaps the time. But if you can wait for 2 years to put up, because this contract was awarded around 2019 or 2019 actually, because we won the bid in 2017.
Yeah.
And we started the construction in late 2018. If we cannot use 3 years to construct a multi-purpose sports stadium, we are at a level where Ghana should be having a multi-purpose sports stadium, a quality one, 60,000-70,000 capacity stadium that should be serving our national team. Alassane Ouattara Stadium. You go there and you see the modernity of it. The modernity. I saw the stadium and I said it would take them like maybe 40-50 years to make any attempt of constructing or improving the facility there, because it has basically everything that a modern stadium should have. And you do this when you are under pressure to construct or host an event. We have the pressure to host the events of African Games, and possibly because also the African Games entails all the other sporting disciplines, it would have served the purpose of putting up a multi-purpose sports complex. We do what we have done at Boteman, which I'll commend them, but why could we not do a multi-purpose stadium to serve all the purposes of sports for football and all that? So now you have to go to Boteman for other sports and come to Legon, because the Accra Sports Stadium is not fit for purpose. Kumasi is not fit for purpose. Takoradi is not fit for purpose now as we speak. And even the Legon Stadium is not done in the sense of it. But it's something that maybe after the African Games we need to probe to see why we, at the expense of putting up a stadium for $200 million, put up satellite facilities for $140 million.
Sadiq, well, would like to say a very big thank you to you. We've taken virtually all of your time of travel between here and the studio, but we're wishing you well, and we're going to continue the conversation. Now, the minister himself has said that we need a national dialogue, and at least for once, we are going to move beyond just the conversations, and we're going to see action, because this should work and work for all of us. When these tournaments and when these facilities are put up and they are to world-class standards, it opens us up for big opportunities.
It serves a bigger purpose. The African Games is a big opportunity for us to have done a lot of things that, the standard for what we have done now should be okay for the games, which needs to be promoted, like I've said. But after that, there should be an opportunity to do bigger things to open up the sports space for the greater good of the game.
All right. Thank you so much, Sadiq Adams. Sadiq Adams previously was named the was previously named the Swag Sports Journalist of the Year. And fine gentleman indeed. Sadiq, we're very grateful to you for the time. All right. So Henry, we're talking. One of the things I've been interested in, is the academy system. Now, you've mentioned the construction and the establishment of academy to serve the 3 northern regions. Now, what are the FA's standards? Something that we can compare to club licensing, for instance. Yeah. What are the licensing standards of the FA? Is this something that is already in place? Do we have a database of all the academies that are here? Because you see, we hear names, you see somebody just writes a name, academy.
In the past,
and people are
in the past we didn't have. But 2 years ago, the General Secretary wrote a letter to all the regional football associations to start telling us what the sort of academies they have in the regions. That was the first point of call. Now, you also remember that the academies were not involved in any competitive league some years ago. Right to Dream will send the players abroad to go and play international invitational tournaments in Denmark, Sweden, and it ends there. Competitively, they were not part of our football space. I mean, the football ecosystem domestically. Today, we've streamlined things, and they have all been hip in line. So the Right to Dream Academy, for instance, competes in the Division 2 league in the Eastern region. I think Wafa now, per what they wrote to the FA, they wanted to pull out of the professional leagues, which is the Premier League, having been relegated to Division 1, and they wanted to now leave Division 1, leave that space for another team and compete in the lower league. So they are also competing in the Division 2 league. There is one at Kaswa that produced the academy that produced Bernard Tekpete. They are also playing in the Central Regional Division 2 League. So the academies that have been presented to the FA by the regional football associations have now been inculcated in the plan of the football ecosystem, and they are competing in the various leagues across the country, but at the regional level. That is what we have. Now, it is also good to get the database, because these academies produce players. In the end, they travel abroad. You find them in different leagues across the world, and they come back to play for our national teams. But if you do not have a database monitoring system, you are not able to track what they do. Maybe their standards that does not even fall in line with the
I was coming to that. I was coming to that. The thing about
administrative
monitoring,
structures, technical,
and and does the FA have something like that in place? Because
it cuts across the club licensing board. The club licensing board ensures that all these procedures are judiciously followed by the academy system. For instance, the size of your pitch, your administrative structure, your finances, the technical area, who coaches what, at what level do we have license.
So all of this is being applied to all the academies that are registered with the FA.
Yes.
I see, but there are some that are not.
I'm sure there are some that are not within the framework of the FA, and these academies, some of them even register with the RFAs. What happens is that once they register with the RFAs, it is compelling for you to grant them access for player registration. So you open the portal at the head office for them, and then they register their players. Because they are not professionally set up, they register 3-4 players and they go to sleep. So those academies become automatically defunct after a number of years. So the IT department always try as much as possible to clean the system. FIFA has introduced something called the clear house, where transfers and all those things go for them to monitor in terms of player compensation, training compensation, and all that. We clear them from the system and make room for others. So the professional ones, those who are following the standards and have been fully allowed to operate by the club licensing board, are duly registered and recognized by the RFAs and then the head office in Accra.
Henry, thank you so much. There's a lot to do. Clearly, there's so much to do, and we are awaiting the announcement of the new trainer for the Black Stars. I mean, there have been so many conversations about that as well, with some also suggesting that they do not believe that we have to go in for a very experienced coach. Recently, the majority leader in Parliament made that comment that he doesn't want us to go for an experienced coach. He wants somebody who can grow with us, because we're at a growth stage now. We're reorganizing ourselves.
Well, that's a good point.
What's the status? I mean, the committee's work has come to an end, hasn't it?
So yes, no, it hasn't. The committee was put together to look for the next coach of the Black Stars. I know they've had a number of meetings. Days gone by, they held meetings. First of all, let me say that over 600 coaches applied for the job.
600?
Yes. At the time we closed the net for the applications, we had over 600 coaches applying for the job. Any key persons, any key names from around the world? Maybe the names I can mention are Ghanaians. Maybe Michael Osei and Maxwell Kunadu. Okay, so apart from that, they tried as much as possible to whittle down to a few of them because they studied their CVs, their profiles, went through it, and then sieved those CVs. And then they moved on to speak to some of them. It is true that they have interviewed a number of them, from Michael Osei to Maxwell Konedu to all the top coaches whose names came up in the application process. Now,
which top coaches?
I have mentioned two names.
No, you mentioned the Ghanaian.
Yes, that is where I want to base our argument, because
Why?
I want to domesticalize the conversation.
But you do know as well that now the conversation is also about getting people. I mean, getting the quality. We have all advocated for that, but now the conversation is also about getting quality.
So
irrespective of where they're coming from.
what I can tell you is that aside the coaches who applied, the search committee is also engaging people or coaches they feel have the capacity and the competence to do the job but did not apply.
I see.
So they are going beyond those who applied to even speak to coaches who are, either engaged elsewhere or are top coaches who
may cost us more.
Who may not be engaged at this point. No, it depends. As for cost, it depends. It depends on your negotiation ability. And for instance, I'm sure many people were wondering if we will be able to pay Chris because of his level. But at least we were able to negotiate, and we reached a fee, and he was signed on. So negotiation for me at this point is not the issue. It's about, first of all, looking at the competence and what the person brings on board, and then after that you go into the second page, which is negotiating and conditions of service and technical team, blah blah blah, and all the excesses that come with it. So they are in the final leg. They've already done 2 weeks. And they are in the final leg, which is the third week. Remember, the ESCO gave them 3 weeks. Once they are done, they will present their report to the Executive Council, and then we will move to the final stage, where the ministry and the government will come in, because they pay the coach. And once we are able to cross the T's and dot the I's, the contract will be signed, and then announcement will be made.
Well, we're on standby. Ghanaians are waiting this very eagerly, for very obvious reasons. Okay, so Henry, thank you so much.
It's good to see Doc.
Good to see you, Henry.
Yes, and we all did watch Dr. Kweku Ofosu-Asare back in the time when he was the host of Sports Beat on GTV many years ago. It's a privilege to be in his company this afternoon, and Henry, later on, someone will meet you as well and tell you that he used to watch you on Sports Highlights. You're a star. You should sign an autograph for me, man. You're still here on the Joy Sports Link on Joy 99.7 FM. We're very grateful to Henry Asante Chum. He is the Director of Communications of the Ghana Football Association, bringing perspective to some of the conversations we're having. But this obviously is a running one. It is something that we will continue to revisit, especially as we're looking forward to seeing who will take over the reins as head coach of the Black Stars. One other pressing matter, which is one of great interest across board, is that of the Africa Games. Before we get into the conversation about the Africa Games, let me just remind you that you can get free concert tickets and shopping vouchers worth 500 Ghana cedis at Melcom, or get some buckets of juicy chicken at KFC every week. Now, this is when you have 10 Ghana cedis. 10 Ghana cedis. And here's what you have to do. Just take 10 Ghana cedis or more in the Game Park game pick 1 or pick 4 lottery to be entered into a weekly Saturday raffle for a chance to win. Now, regardless of the outcome of your stake, you can still win a voucher for yourself. And remember, vouchers are limited, so you play more to increase your chances. And remember to watch the Saturday promo draw on our Doom TV at 6 p.m. Remember, it's at 6 p.m., so some hours to go. Now, dial *946# or visit www.gameparkgames.com to play now. Remember, terms and conditions apply. And remember, Game Park Games, more moolah, more power. Okay, so let me get into some of the messages before I bring in Dr. Kweku Ofosu-Asare, who is the local organizing committee chair for the Africa Games, the 13th Africa Games. These are some messages that are coming in. There's this message from Castus Seshi in Ashaiman. He says, I think Henry, probably was trying to write Henry. I think Henry is in the wrong camp. I don't think what he stands for would come to play if he remains with the current GFA administration. He should sit up. This current GFA has nothing good to offer the people of Ghana. Look at our Ghanaman Soccer Center of, he calls it Center of Shame. The least said about it, our stadia the better. Okay, well, so I will leave out that. We do not encourage anybody to insult. So please, when you're sending in the messages, let's be circumspect and let's be civil with our language. So, Castus and Ashaiman, please, the next time you're sending a message, please be civil in your language. Carry the message across, but no insults, please. Citizen Attoh, good show as always. Some of us always say that Ghana doesn't have the quality to win a major tournament. Oh, and as usual, the communications director of the FA said before we went to the AFCON, he only knew that we could do something significant. Look at the injuries that a major force like Nigeria suffered before the AFCON, but still they went all the way to the finals. As for the Africa Games, I'm just praying that we are not embarrassed as a nation. Late as last night, they were still working at the site at Botiman, and when this should have been done a long time ago and tested the facilities. So what time do they test the facilities? Godwin in North Kanishi. Well, the chairman of the local organizing committee is here with us in the studio. So we will have all of those questions answered. Okay, now there's this other message here. He says it's called, this text is called the taxpayer. This message says, "Hi, Mr. Henry. I just learned yesterday that the Black Princesses and the likes have not been paid their bonuses all this while after the success chalked for the nation. The ladies have done way better than the men, so why this wicked treatment? Secondly, if Ghana Sports is your private entity, would you and your people run it the way it's being run now? Would you reasonably spend like you're doing now?" Okay, this message is from the taxpayer. Henry, just before you go, can you respond to this?
The one on the princesses.
On the princesses, yes.
Yes, the princesses are owed some bonuses. We have compiled everything and sent to the Ministry of Youth and Sports. They've sent us feedback that the bonuses will be cleared before the team starts preparations for the African Games. As we speak, the princesses are in France through a program with the France Embassy and the French Football Federation. We've sent them to France to prepare for the African Games. They will be back hopefully tonight. So our hope is that before they go into the tournament on the 8th of next month, the ministry would clear all those outstanding bonuses. So that is it. I think there was a portion where he was talking about if the football was our private business, would we spend the way we have spent? Let me just make this clarification. Now, before every tournament, and it's happened all these years, before every tournament, the FA puts a budget together, a budget that contains air tickets, a budget that contains accommodation, per diem, allowances, internal transport, and then bonuses. We put it together and we send to the Ministry of Youth and Sports. The Ministry of Youth and Sports receives the budget, raises questions if need be. But if it is that they are okay with all the various areas, they only acknowledge receipt and they move on. Then they contact the Ministry of Finance for monies to be released for the expenditure, and that is where our role ends. It ends at the Ministry of Youth and Sports. The Ministry of Youth and Sports sends a purse holder to accompany the team to the tournament. We are not privy to how much is approved from the initial budget, and all we know is that the purse holder arrives at the tournament. For instance, in Ivory Coast, the purse holder arrived at the tournament, paid per diem to the players and officials. When the medical team needs any medical stuff, he accompanies them to the shop somewhere in town to buy and takes receipt. Same for the cook. When she needs something, he does same. Go to town, buy it, takes the receipts, and then retards those receipts to the ministry when the team arrives from the competition. So nobody hands physical cash to the GFA to go and expend at any tournament. Not for a one-off game, not for a tournament. Monies are not given to the FA in a bag or a luggage or whatever to go and expend. There is always a purse holder from the ministry who takes responsibility for every expenditure and reports back to the Ministry of Sports.
Well, we will get into this at another date. But for now, we're very grateful to you, Henry. Thank you so much for making the time to be here with us to respond to some of the issues that have come up. And we're also monitoring to see what comes out of the committee's work regarding who will be selected as the new coach of the Black Stars, so we can move in from there. Obviously, we've got qualifiers to play for the FIFA World Cup, and there's a lot to discuss. Yes, there's obviously a lot to discuss and a lot to prepare for. Anyway, Henry, thank you. Thank you so much. We're still here on the Joy Sports Link on Joy 99.7 FM. And do remember that we're building up to the Africa Games, and we're just about a fortnight away. Dr. Kweku Swasari starts answering the questions immediately after this round of messages. We're still here on the Joy Sports Link.
Joy 99.7 FM.
The race to Jubilee House is on. Ghana is at a crossroads.
It's time again for the people to choose, and the world is watching.
So join Joy News as we launch our comprehensive coverage of the 2024 elections and the wide array of election programs carefully designed to empower you, an informed electorate.
We will do this because in a nation where every vote counts, every voice matters, there's one name you can trust for your election coverage.
Joy News, your election headquarters. From now till January 7, 2025,
A team of seasoned journalists will bring you up-to-the-minute updates, unbiased analysis, and the stories behind the headlines.
Your election headquarters brings you the launch of Joy News 2024 election coverage on Monday, February 19th from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m.
Live on the Joy FM Super Morning Show, the AM show on the Joy News channel, and all our social media platforms.
The election headquarters for an informed electorate. Joy News, independent, fearless, credible.
Joy 99.7 FM.
Well, still here on the Joy Sports Link on Joy 99.7 FM. We've zoomed in on the conversation about the Africa Games. And on March 8th, the official opening ceremony for the event will be happening here in Accra. And, there's a lot to do in terms of work and preparation. And the man who's in charge of the whole operation is here with us. Dr. Kweku Swasari is chairperson for the local organizing committee of the 13th Africa Games. Doc, good to have you here again.
Thank you very much, Nat. Good afternoon to your listeners, I'm sure.
Very well.
We have viewers as well.
Viewers as well, watching on YouTube across the globe.
Okay.
Yeah. Doc.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Now, one issue that came up, for instance, is, 2 weeks. How are we going to test the facilities?
Well, thank you so much. When we commissioned, we did some testing as well. And the testing of the facilities, we are collaborating with the Federation heads and the Confederation heads to see if we can organize some of the competitions. So ideally, we should have had these facilities 3 months, then you'll get the opportunity to do the testing and all that. But in most cases, you don't get the ideal situation. We've been to games, we've been to tournament, big tournament, Birmingham, Commonwealth, other games. You don't get to have it as wanted. And so I was at the Commonwealth Games. as late as maybe a few weeks to go, they were still working. The stadium that they planned to use for the opening ceremonies and all that, they never got it. They had to readjust to put in a temporary one and all that. So these things happen, and therefore ours is not an exception. But so far we've come good, and we're hoping that Ghanaians will appreciate the work that we've done. For instance, the investment made by the government and our commitment, diligence, determination, particularly the president of the land, His Excellency Nadu Dankwa Akufo-Addo. But for him, we wouldn't have had any have these games because at a point in time we were hard pressed, and the challenges we were having in the economy, and every Ghanaian was saying that there are options, opportunity costs. Why do you want to still host the African Games and all that? But he stuck to his word and said, look, we haven't had it. This is our first time. Let's make the most of it, and let's try as much as possible to get some of these facilities befitting for the games. So if you go to Boteman now and you see some of these facilities there, the aquatic center, for instance, stands out. It can rub shoulders with any swimming pool or any aquatic center in the world, not only in Africa but in the world. The courts, the multi-purpose building, the dome, and all that. Even though we don't have football, we have laid a foundation. We are not playing football over there. We've laid a foundation there. We have tracks there as well. This is the first phase, and everybody who goes there, everybody who's been there, we took the CCAG members there. If I talk about CCAG, I'm talking about the Technical Committee for the African Games, the CDMs who came from all over Africa. When we took them there, they were overwhelmed. Recently, I think 2-3 days ago, we took the Moroccan delegation, the Tunisian and the Algerian delegations. We took them there. They were blown. They were extremely overwhelmed. And so we haven't done badly. The facilities we have at the Boteman, and even the upgrading of the facilities at Legon. We didn't have a standard rugby field. We've had it. The Legon Stadium, Royal Mine back 2007, the rebound. The stadium was in ruins. We brought it to the level. We've laid the Mondo tracks, which is almost complete. We have warm-up tracks, which will enable us to have international competitions and all that. Legon has been the major beneficiary of the games. We have upgraded the hostels and all that. And if you ask me, I think we may not have had it all rosy. That is where we are. It should be appreciated. Ghanaians should appreciate where we are, and after the games, we'll have the opportunity to also host the international competitions with the facilities we have. We're going to have the opportunity to also transform the facilities at Boteman into a University of Sports and Development. Sometimes you don't value what you have until you go out there and compare with others. Ours is not only football. Ours encompasses a lot of facilities, and it's also the opportunity for us to bring up our other, do we say, the lesser disciplined or lesser funded disciplines that we have in the country, so that it's not only football. I was enjoying your discussion with my colleagues who were talking about the Chan, our performances there, the facilities. Ivory Coast was able to, put up. I was in Algeria, in Abidjan for a short period, and we have to commend President Ouattara and his government and the Ivorians in general for what they were able to put up. I hear they spent over $1 billion on those facilities, but it's all also goes to say that I want to put it this way: that I was very glad, and I will say it and repeatedly say that.
Joy,
say so because
99.7
you don't realize that African countries are making the effort to also develop, sports, and you can only develop sports when you have the needed infrastructure, and when you get opportunity to host tournaments. This is when you make sure that you upgrade or build new facilities.
Well, join us with your messages. Remember, it's 055 1111997. 055 1111997. Now, he has confirmed, I'm talking about Dr. Kwekofo Sasari, that these facilities will be upgraded. Beg your pardon. These facilities are being tested as we speak because their respective federations have been informed, and some of them are being used at the moment to test how good they are. And we've seen a few from swimming, especially. We've seen a few from swimming where some of the swimmers are being engaged to do so.
Yeah,
now, what will be the plan then?
As I speak to you now, the president of Ghana Swimming Association, Mrs. Quay, for instance, spoke to me, was it yesterday? They've planned a program. I think we're going to have a competition next week at Baltimore, where they will test the facilities. So what we have the arrangement is to encourage these federation heads to organize competitions, and they do that in collaboration with the LOC. So we're going to have swimming competition, for instance, at Baltimore next week. This will also be part of. These are all arrangements to test the facilities that we have. Athletics and other federations are also cooperating with us on that.
Doc, what's the situation with the Legon training track? Because I've been there a couple of times, and there's a lot of groundwork that has been done. The center pitch has been done, but then the track has not been laid yet. What's the situation?
Yeah, they're working on it. The problem was that they needed to get the right people to lay the tracks. If you don't get the certified experts to lay the tracks, your tracks will not be a certified one. And if your facilities are not certified, then you cannot have an international competitions and it will not attract athletes, because when they come and they run on it, their records will not be recognized. So I personally spoke to the MD of Consa, the contractor that is handling the Legon facilities. And that was the challenge, and they needed to make sure that the artificial tracks were laid by experts, and in this case, it's Mondo. Ghanaians will always refer to it as Tartan, but Tartan is another company, and Mondo is on top range, and the Mondo is the company that is being used to lay those tracks, and they've given us every assurance, and that we wanted to use Mondo for both the main field and also for the warm-up, so that you can still compete on using the warm-up. At the warm-up, where you have the warm-up, we also have the tracks, so that we have two facilities that can be used.
And what are the timelines that you've given? We've got a fortnight to go.
Yeah, yes.
And I'm also told that some of these athletes are coming in, ahead of time during the last week of this month.
Yeah. Let me walk you through the program.
Go ahead.
We have tennis, table tennis on the 3rd, handball, badminton. So they are starting on the 3rd. This is because they have international competitions. They've pleaded with us for us to push the competition forward. Don't forget that the competition formally will be starting on the 8th through 23rd. So they will come from the 3rd and start competing. And their athletes will start arriving on the 27th. And we are also to open the Games Village a week before that. And then these competitions will start earlier. So if you talk about athletics, we're looking at 17th of March. And therefore, they've given us a cutoff point. By the end of or before the end of this month, they should be able to finish the Mondo tracks. It's not going to be a problem. Our concern is even the field. CAF has been on us to make sure that the Legon field is up to the needed. Being a new stadium, they had a few challenges, but then that is also being worked on to make sure that the field becomes playable, and that it also meets the CAF standards. So what we're doing, and the other thing which I want to use the opportunity to also tell Ghanaians, is that initially we thought we were going to use Legon and Accra Sports Stadium. Then CAF descended on us recently that we have to use 4 competition stadiums and 8 training venues. That became a huge challenge because we don't have four competition venues in Accra. For instance, Airwork is not in good shape. And when we did contact the authorities, they said they've made arrangement till maybe end of March or so. Then we looked at Kumasi. Kumasi, the main stadium, okay, will pass by CAF test. Pajo, they said no way. Pajo will not pass. There's no way they were going to allow us play on artificial turf. These type artificial turf that we are putting up, they don't want to know. They don't want to know at all. For instance, the one at it's no longer Labadi, it's La. You know,
it has always been La.
we adulterated it and we're saying Labadi. Yeah. But the La, for instance, we thought could be used. They said no, we would have used that easily for the women's game. But they said no. So because we thought we could easily go to Kumasi. So then they said no, you can't. They said we couldn't use Pajo. So we were compelled to move to Cape Coast and Elmina. And so these challenges came in a bit late, but we are doubling up our efforts to make sure that we bring the Cape Coast Stadium up to the standard. Yesterday they were in Cape Coast to look at it. Last week, CAF sent an inspector to the country to assess all these facilities. And then we moved to Elmina Indum's Stadium. That is on record, on CAF's record. So they said, well, we could use the place, but we have to also bring it up to the standard befitting the competition. Then we have Robert Mensah's stadium. Also, we're going to use that as a training venue. I personally have spoken to Odate, so we'll be using Odate's academy, the fields there also as part of the training venues. We pleaded with CAF that in the worst case scenario, we will use 3 training venues instead of 4. They are in agreement. So this is our predicament. It didn't. Some of the things were not initially known, you know, but when they come in, when the confederations come in with the demands and all that, you need to double up and do that. So that's where we are. But rest assured, I want to assure all Ghanaians that come what may, we are what we have at the moment, we will be able to be suitable for the African Games. Most of the people who came in told us plainly that what we have now, they don't have those facilities in their countries. And some of them were also very, very frank and sincere with us that what we went through, if it had been if it hadn't happened in their countries, mostly about 99% of them, 99% of them would have pulled out. So the fact that we did not pull out, and the fact that we've soldiered on up to this stage, bracing ourselves to face all the challenges, putting up what we have. I've been to tournament. I went to Nigeria. There was a tournament in Nigeria. That very day that the match was being played, they were working on the stadium. So this is not new. Everybody tries. I mean, you look at your context. Look at the challenges. Look at the COVID. We don't want to belabor the point. Look at what we've gone through as Ghanaians. If we have been able to come this far, I think people should be able to appreciate where we are at the moment.
Well, let's do this message. Kwame Obrimpong in Adabraka says, good afternoon, Nathaniel. I'm very happy to be hearing Dr. Kweku Ofosu-Asare speak in your studio. He reminds me of Sports Beat on GTV. Congratulations to him. Yeah. Thank you. So you left the studio and the console some years ago.
Yeah, I started.
Do you ever have any temptations to want to come back to broadcasting?
I love doing that. I like communicating. I like teaching. I like lecturing. I like imparting knowledge. So at any point in time, because I remember the moment I came out of the university as a very, very young person, even before that, I was thrown into the public light and I started sports way back in 1985. Then we moved on. I was banded and I started hosting. Even when I went to study in England, I created a program, Sports with Kweku, and I was on. It ran for 6 years on OB TV all over Europe. So I love doing that. Even though I haven't walked through the walls of an institute of journalism. I have been in administration. I've been in management and all that. I did my 2 master's programs in business and in world trade and development. I did my my PhD in political economy, looked at the IMF and World Bank policies and all that, the impact on African countries, developing countries, with Ghana as a case in point. But all this aside, I love to be behind the console. I love to talk, and then I love to lecture. As I speak to you, I even lecture at the Ghana Armed Forces College, GAFC at Teshi.
All right, now let's get into some of the specifics, some of the other ones. We've spoken about Botiman and how the facilities over there are being tested. We also spoke about the situation with the training tracks at University of Ghana, Legon.
Yeah.
What is the National Sports Authority telling you about what will be done with Accra Stadium and Cape Coast Stadium, which are supposed to host football competitions?
Okay, thank you, Nat, for this question. We had a discussion with the Honorable Minister, who has been very supportive, Honorable Mustafa Yusuf. Our Chief Director, Mr. William Kati, has also been very, very supportive. My colleagues at the LOC have all been very supportive. When we had this challenge, we're looking at the holistic picture. The amount involved was colossal, because the CAF requires us to improve the state, bring up the field, that's the turf, to the requisite standard, I should say, as well as the washrooms and all those facilities. And so they decided that immediately we engage Mr. Frank Boahin and his team. Money was given out. These are really out of the budget. When we were doing it, Accra Sports Stadium at that time was in good shape. Our only concern was at the Legon Stadium. We never thought about that they would let us go to Cape Coast and all those places. So we engaged them. We went to Mr. Professor Chumasi. I want to use this opportunity to express my condolences to him as well. I understand he's lost his son. I know how it is to lose your son. I've been there before, and I share his pains. So we spoke to him. We spoke to the ministers. Quickly we rallied. Even though we saw the documentary of mushrooms growing on the turf, which people which people misconstrued, because at that time the turf was being prepared, the grass was being prepared. When you spray, you allow some time for the grass to grow, and when the grass is growing, it comes up with other things like mushrooms and all that before you start cutting and rolling and making sure that it's okay. So the NSA was involved. The Ministry of Youth and Sports involved. They're giving us all the support. We went to Cape Coast. We've been to Elmina and all that. They've given us the 100% support, and we are bringing the turf or the grass, the field to the standard befitting CAF's standards. And Accra Sports Stadium, for instance, if you go there, you see a different story altogether. I understand that even the ladies will be playing there before that. CAF is in support, CAF is in agreement, the recommendations they made are being implemented. And so, to tell you the truth, everybody is supporting us, and we are hoping that we will we'll give Ghana a very good tournament. We want to host the African Games and make it one of the best ever in the history of the Games. Don't forget that since 1965, we've never had the opportunity to host the African Games, even though our first president, President Nkrumah, who was a founding father, encouraged the growth of sports on the continent. We never got the opportunity, and this is our time. And I remember very well, the president always tells me, Chairman, we have to do it. Chairman, we have to do that. We have to, Executive Chairman, we have to do it. And therefore, we want to make Ghanaians proud. And I always say that this is a national project. All Ghanaians must see it as such. We must all be prepared to play our roles. No role is so small. No role is minute. We all have important roles as Ghanaians to play to help us host the African Games. I'm sure we're going to come to that. And there are a few thoughts that I would like to share, Nat.
Let's also get into the subject of promoting these games. Now, you travel outside of town, you arrive at the airport, and you're not I mean, that was some months back, but right now we do see some images from a PR point of view, you would have wanted to see a lot more of that, a lot more of, the outdoor campaign, that on radio and television and all of that. What's being done now as well, practically on the ground, what's being done on the ground for that particular arrangement?
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good question, and a very important question. Nat, thank you for that. I mean, we had challenges promoting these games, and I don't want to go too far back, but you will appreciate that the impasse between the African Union and that's the AU, ANOCA, that's Association of National Olympic Committees, and UCSA, that's the Association of African Sports Confederations, affected the promotion of these games to a very, very large extent. And let me repeat myself, I've said this over again, that it took the president to go with us a year ago. What's today's date? Today is 17th, if my memory serves me right. Today is 17th. We were able to resolve this issue on the 19th of February, a year ago.
Last year?
Yes. So it's all this affected the promotion of these games because UCSA was pulling out, ANOCA wanted to pull out, AU was saying this. So how do you market a product that is tainted with dispute? So put that aside. So after this, then we had to, when we got the issue resolved, we had to readjust to fix the dates. So, if you're promoting a tournament, the dates are very, very important.
Very well.
You're not sure when you are promoting the games. How do you go out broadcasting? How do you go out advertising and all that? So it was after 19th of February, even March, when these guys came in to Ghana, then we had to reschedule these times. And we agreed to do it in March because we wanted to tie it into our independent commemoration of our independence and all that. So let's put that aside. So then we had to reorganize ourselves. When everybody was certain about the dates, about what was going to happen and all that, then we started to double up and to promote the games. You're right. I mean, personally, I was involved in even fixing facilities at the airport. As late as 2 a.m., I was there with the contractor, that's Parkwesi of Vent 5. We brought in the logo and other things, and we'll be planting them at prominent places very soon. So you have the airport one day. We are doubling our effort to do the promotion as quickly as possible. I was personally involved at Takrady with the LOC and our staff during the Christmas period. We tapped into the promotion of their, what they call them, anchors, the masqueraders. Amazing festival. So we were there also to do that, to promote that. We've had a walk in Accra. We're going to have another one again.
I remember.
Yes, we've had a walk in Accra. We had a walk in Takrady. Amazing. We've even gone ahead to say that we want one of the masquerading groups to be part of the opening ceremony. Tumus, one of the finest masquerading groups in Takrady. So that's an aspect of promoting the games. Now, what we're doing tomorrow, we have tied our apron to Primiva, what Primiva is doing for former President Kufuor, Jack. He's a lover of sports, a football fan. So Kotoko against Nswatreman, for instance, in Kumasi, we've had the blessings of the former president. We're going to Kumasi on tomorrow. We're bringing in over 1,000 students. We're clothing them in the LOC T-shirts. One of the nicest in recent times. You can see what I'm wearing now.
Very well.
Very flamboyant. And we are very privileged to also have the Vice President, His Excellency, Alhaji Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, to grace the occasion. Our Minister is going to be there, the Chief of Staff, Deputy Minister of Youth and Sports, they are there. So we're going to take Kumasi by storm. And then that is going to be an aspect of promoting the games. Then we're going to have the touch relay. We're going to take the torch to various parts of the country to also as a form of promoting the games. What we planned, Nat, was to take the torch also to Africa. Africa administratively has been zoned into 5. We have the northern sector, the western sector, the eastern sector, the central sector, the southern sector. We wanted to go to Egypt for instance, to take care of the northern sector, and then come to Nigeria for the western sector, go to Zimbabwe or South Africa for the southern sector, go to Congo for the central sector, and go to either Zambia or Kenya for the Kenya was what we penciled down for the eastern sector. But we looked at the time, and it's not out yet, but these are all the plans that we have put in place to promote the games. We have the budget. Even our budget is stretched. People like you have been very supportive. We have engaged the local media. We've been to various media houses. We've been here about 2-3 times, even though we still see the grass growing. But the recent publicity that you have given us, the publicity has been amazing. Ghanaian media.
No, but Ghanaian, the grass.
No. I enjoy it. I enjoy it. You can't have it. You can't have it palatable all along. It's a positive and a negative. Yeah. They put together, and then you get the best out of it. And these are things that will also wake you up. So I am personally not against constructive criticism at all. Everybody is part of the project. So if you are constructing the path and you don't see that your back is crooked and somebody is pointing it out, you don't have to take offense. You have to be engaging people. You have to understand that it's the taxpayers' money that we are spending. So you cannot be cocooned and say that, no, people are criticizing, you get angry, you get offended and all that. It's our project. And people must be able to tell you that this is wrong. Even in our home, even in my home, the children, you give them the opportunity to point out, how do you see this? How do you see that? So I am in favor of people criticizing us, but doing it so constructively. So the media in Ghana have also been very, very supportive. I have friends outside in Togo, for instance. I have a friend in Togo who came all the way last week to interview me for Canal France. I have friends in Nigeria who have also been promoting us. When I went to Nigeria, I spoke to a spectrum of media people. So we've not been doing too badly, but we can do better. So we are going to double up with a few weeks left to ensure that we promote the games to the highest level.
So it means that the proposed the proposed torch relay from nation to nation or from zone to zone on the continent has to be abolished because we don't have the time.
It is not abolished entirely. We're weighing, but that is part of the.
But we've got only 2 weeks to go.
Yeah, but we can travel if we want to travel.
So
but if we don't do that, then the concentration will be within Ghana to take it to regions, north, south, west, central, and all that. So that is that is part of the planning. So we will weigh, because we don't want a situation where we go to maybe only one part in Africa and not go to the rest. And the other thing that we are also looking at maybe sharing the responsibilities. Some people can go, some people can also handle what is in Ghana. But if we look at the time and we see that it will not be conducive, we will only concentrate in promoting, taking the touch around in Ghana.
Doc,
I said in bloggers, some people are professional bloggers. We had to engage them. Some people are you use Twitter, you use Instagram, the social media and all that. We've been engaging them and all that. So it's not that we haven't done as expected, but I'm saying that there's room for improvement, and we're going to do more engagement and encourage people to assist in promoting. What you are doing is excellent. I had to put everything aside to be here, because the platform you're offering us to talk about the games is an aspect of promoting the games. So this is where we are, and with the few weeks left, we will need to double our. If I say the budget is stretched, for instance, what I want to expatiate on is simply this: we didn't factor Cape Coast, improving Cape Coast Stadium, for instance, to consideration. We didn't think of having to go to upgrade Robert Mason Stadium, go to Esipon. It wasn't part of it. We have to go to Presec, we have to go to Achimota and all these places to improve upon the fields to make them part of the facilities for the games. We are, as I speak to you now, we are upgrading the facility at Achimota, the Oval, For instance,
the cricket over.
Yeah, the cricket
yes,
over.
I was about to ask about that.
Over.
I mean,
I was there recently. The cricket over.
Yeah, the Ghana Cricket Association, had to dig deep and use some of their own personal resources to start it off. So has the LOC met them halfway?
As I speak to you now, we're spending in the millions to upgrade the over. The concentration is on the green, and go there today. From here, go there. You see that facilities are springing up for where the media will be, for where guests will be, and all that. They are springing up very, very fast. We are even constructing the.
There are two ovals at Achimota.
Yes.
Now the main oval and then the supplementary one. Okay, so you're working on both of them.
And we are putting about 4 structures. As we speak now, we have doubled the water facilities there. Go and see tanks. And from the edge of the road, where the Achimota, the tar road ends, we are upgrading the road to the oval. As we speak now, you can go there and check. These were all not part of the budget. The concentration, the approval we had, my minister had, was for approval from Parliament, was for the facilities at Boteman and Legon, the upgrading of Legon. So these are things.
But look, there's nothing wrong with going back to the spending authority to say, look, this is reality. I mean, this is what we budgeted, but then along the course of the project and getting the work executed, we came across these overheads which we have to, and it is done in budgeting.
Yeah,
so what's stopping the LOC?
We've done that. We've done that. Nothing is stopping us. The first of all, foremost, if we not even the operational cost, for instance, opening and closing ceremony doesn't come cheap. Catering for over 5,000 people doesn't come cheap. Games management system, it doesn't come cheap. So we had to go back to the president, and then we had to go back to even defend it with the former minister of finance. You know, we had to write for the last budget reading, for instance. Those things were incorporated.
So 145 million for the construction of the facility in Portiman. How much have we added to that in terms of operational cost?
The operational cost, I'm talking about the operational cost, the LOC's operational cost.
Yes.
Yes.
So how much is that also costing us?
The LOC's operational cost is still ongoing. For instance, as I speak to you now, we need close to the last figures that are put together. It's about $40-something million that we need. But I'm not sure we're going to get all that. But what we have.
Okay, so we need about $40 million.
The budget that we had approved was $34 million.
Okay, so there's a deficit of $7 million US dollars.
That is what we think will help us. But we are operating within the budget allocated to us. Don't get me wrong. But what I'm trying to.
So 34 million has been approved.
Yes.
And there's a deficit of 7 million.
It's not a deficit. It's an additional money that we will need.
Okay.
If push comes to the shove. But if we don't get it, we have to utilize what we have.
I see.
It's not easy.
I see.
There are competing demands. So personally, you can't sit down and be complaining. You make use of what you have and make sure that at least you'll be able to get a job done. You can't sit down and say, oh, because you see, when you talk about resources can be unlimited. But you look at your context. When you go to, say, countries like Egypt, like Algeria, like all those places, if they have the resources, they do it. But if you don't have it, it's just like, let's come to this level. It's just like being at home, okay? You look at what you are earning, and you plan within what you are earning. If your child is going to school, you know you can take breakfast, you will do this. You have to make sure that at least you spend within your reach. If you want to buy a vehicle, you know you may be demanding to ride in Rolls-Royce. But if you don't have the money for Rolls-Royce, you can get your Toyota. And then you know that if Rolls-Royce will run faster and your Toyota will not run as fast as the Rolls-Royce, you get up early and hit the road. But at least you have to make sure that it takes you to your destination, takes you to your work to be able to deliver your job. So this is where we are as Ghanaians. We don't have a big purse.
Resource pot.
Yes.
Yeah.
So what you have, make use of it and get a job done. I don't believe in crying, and I don't believe in talking about challenges and all that. I believe in solutions, because for every challenge you have, if you look deep in it, there's an iota of a solution, and that's what you have to exploit.
There's a message from the CEO of Ghana Athletics, Bawa Husseini. He was previously an athlete as well. He says, "Good show, Nat. Dr. Ofusu-Asare is doing well under very difficult situations." All right, thank you very much, Mr. Bawa Husseini, for that one. Now, Charles Benoni Okine, the Greater Accra chairman of the GJA, has sent this one. Now, he sent one in relation to the Ghana FA. I'll do that as well and add this one as well. Nat, the PR guy, must answer the following: Why the meeting with the organizers? Can he give us an itemized expenditure of the amount spent on the AFCON? Well, for the AFCON, we do remember that the Minister for Youth and Sports, laid a paper in Parliament and mentioned that there was an actual amount of just a little over $3 million spent for group stage, participation or group stage exit from the FIFA World Cup. That is on record. That at least we know. Where did the stars come prior to the tournament? Is it the case that anybody who watches soccer, loves soccer, understands the game? What's the impact of the so-called academy, making on youth development? And he's talking about the academy that has been set up in northern Ghana, as mentioned by the director of communications of the Ghana FA. Well, these are all issues that we're going to pick up when we discuss the football operation once again. So these are all very well noted, and we're going to discuss them as we go along. Now, Nat, we do not need any national dialogue. We need implementation for the various recommendations earlier made by various committees. The documents are there. He should go for them and implement. He wants a forum to come and talk big for nothing. And this is in reference to the sports minister. Okay, thank you very much, Charles Benoni Okine, chairman of the Greater Accra branch of the GJA. All right, so a few more messages coming in. Remember, it's 055-11-11997, 055-11-11997. All right. Well, so we'll be doing some more of the messages as we go along, but please do make sure to send them in. We'll be glad to, to have them. All right, Doc. So we've been talking about, the issues of spend, and always the issues of the spend comes in. Now, you also do realize that at the end of the day, people are going to be talking about what we have not done because we got the opportunity to do them. You do remember that a few moments ago here, Sadiq Adams was raising the issue about going for the kill, which is the $200 million, and then get that facility which will be of lasting effect for what we want to do in the future with our sports development, as against putting up all of these scattered facilities.
Good. I was just talking to him when he was leaving. I was telling him that what we have at the Baltimore is the first phase. I mean, ideally, the president of the land, His Excellency Nana Akufo-Addo, had wanted us to build a sports complex, everything at Baltimore. But unfortunately, because time was of the essence. After COVID, we didn't have enough money. The time was limited, and we couldn't. The contractor said there was no way they could put up the stadium at Baltimore within the time period. And I was privy to that conversation and that discussion. They said there was no way they could do that. Give us the 60,000 seating capacity. No. We didn't know that we were going to have an extension to March this year. We were all limited to August 2023. And they said they won't be able to do that. So we had to abandon that. That is why we adopted the hybrid model. Even we at the LOC, I remember leading my colleagues to the president to defend the model we adopted, the hybrid model. That if we wanted to host the games, then we should adopt a hybrid model where we will develop some facilities at Baltimore and upgrade the facilities at Legon. At that time, Legon had given us the land at Baltimore, and it was a green land. And I remember very well, I always joke with this, when we had a report then they saw the cattle,
grazing instead of
drinking water and all grazing and all that. The end of our land, the bordering mark is a stream.
Okay.
And I remember very well.
Gary
was trying to do some studies there, some research there, and as somebody, a former journalist, I even told him where to go. There was nothing to hide. So it was a green or a virgin land. And then we approached the University of Ghana, the vice chancellor there, Professor Odro, and
at that time, sure.
Yes, they agreed to lease the land to us, and then now Professor Abba and the others, they cooperated, and we said, okay, we will do this. We had even wanted to build hostels at Boteman and all that. So it was going to be a one-stop shop.
But Doc, you do understand, especially from where you sit and your background, that we have had history with getting into these scenarios, pushing, with time limits and all of that. And then in the eventual scheme of things, you do not see the full implementation of what we have on paper. Example or case in point is CAN 2008, where we were supposed to construct hotels, adjoining hotels to some of the facilities as legacy projects, so that there will be a network effect, or there will be a positive effect on the local economy of these areas where these stadia are situated. But they couldn't be constructed. When 2024, 2008 came and has left, and we're still here.
That's a brilliant submission, Nat. And I want to give you an A+ for that.
I wish this was one of my.
So the question is, what lessons do we learn from this?
But of course, in 2024, we're supposed to do things better.
Yeah, that's what I'm telling you. If you ask my candid view, and I will say this here and everywhere, and I've said it elsewhere, there's no need for us to go back to where we left the facilities to ruin. When I saw the turf at Tamale, when they showed to me, when I went to Tamale the other time, and I saw the washrooms and other things, I was very disappointed. Therefore, to me, the facilities at Boteman, the amount of money we have spent there and intend to spend, we should do better than we did at during CAN 2008. Those facilities we put up. So, when the president, in his wisdom, said we should transform the facilities into a university of sport for development, my heart really was gladdened. And it is something that I will push for. And if you ask me, I will go for a PPP arrangement for Boteman. Private, public.
Not the National Sports Authority.
No, not at all. I would say this anywhere I go. We don't have to travel that route again. With the amount of money we have sunk over there, we have to make the place sustainable. We have to let the current generation and the next generation benefit from the investment we have made. It has to be, because we have to build hostels, we have to build entertainment, we have to build other complexes around that. We have to make the universities come to reality. That is the dream of the president. And if you have a university over there, the kind of university we want to put up, there is no way the facilities will go down the drain.
Okay, Doc, let me understand you better. Are we then, in effect, saying that we should take away the responsibility of manning all our facilities, from the National Sports Authority? Because you see, yes, these ones are new, but we also have existing facilities which need to be taken care of.
Let me tell you one thing, Nat. I'm not sure Ghanaians are aware of this. When you were refurbishing, we were building up and preparing for CAN 2008. I was then not in the country. I was studying in the UK, in London, to be precise. And may he so rest in peace, the former Minister of Sports, Honorable Kajo Banredu.
Yes.
He was a friend.
God bless his soul.
Yes. And so I told him this. I said, look here, you can't renovate these stadiums and leave them to ruin. So I invited him and I took him to the Arsenal Sports Stadium at that time and arranged for the management of Arsenal. I'm an Arsenal fan. So I was able to arrange for the management of Arsenal to walk him through what is done at the former Arsenal Stadium. The conference facilities, the restaurants, this, that kept the place going. They were not generating only money from the field on Sundays. No way. You can't sustain that. So there are facilities you put in place to make sure that you generate revenue. If you leave it to only Sunday, how much revenue are you going to generate from there? No. We have moved away from there. The model also is that you go to the stadium, even in America and other places, you go to the stadium, they even have coaches ready to receive your children. People take their families there to enjoy the Sunday. They have restaurants, they have bars, they have this thing, and all that. The children are walked through. Coaches take them through. They let them know how to practice and all that. They are all part of the modern stadium. I did my postdoctorate at Barcelona, Navarra Business School, about 10 minutes walk from Camp Nou. You go to Camp Nou, you can queue for an hour to get in there. They have the merchandise, they have the restaurant, they have this, they have that. Camp Nou, they were Arsenal, they don't generate, Barcelona, they don't generate money from the field alone. You get to the airport, the watches and all the...
Very well.
This is why we have
that
to
is well understood. And clearly we are still...
Go to Accra Sports Stadium.
Yes.
People are there. And you sit down and they take your light off. What the people are? What are they selling? Are they paying the right electricity bills and what have you? They should be made to do that.
All right. So there are people put in charge of the National Sports Authority. There are staff there. There are people who have responsibilities there. So then it means that they are a failure. And
I haven't said that. You have said that. I haven't said that.
But if it's not working,
I am saying that. Listen.
Okay.
I am saying that if we have a law all these years and these things are not working, what stops us from amending our law?
Okay.
To bring in the PPP and let people, the stadiums and other things, be able to generate money to be sustainable.
What also happens to further empowering the sports authority? Because then, if we are amending our law, then it more or less would put the sports authority on an island.
If you need to empower them to be efficient, why don't you do that? Why don't you do that? Why, since 2008, who needs to tell us that our stadiums are going down the drain? Who needs to tell us? Do we need a white man to come from outside to come and tell us to be able to run our stadium and make them sustainable? Is that what you are telling me? Don't you have people going? Don't you have parliamentarians? Don't you have institutions and all that responsible for this? How do we spend the taxpayers' money 2008 up to now? Do the math. How many years?
It's been a while.
So why can't we look at it and make it sustainable? Why do we want to be doing the same thing, repeating the same mixes and expecting a different result? Are we not people? Are we not intelligent? Most of us have studied outside. Don't we know what is happening outside? We travel to games and other places. What is stopping us? What is wrong with us?
There's a message here from Inko Joseph. He says, I think the committee and the sports minister, Honorable Mustafa Usif, have collaborated very well to get this far. Kindly tell them to finish hard because some of us are solidly behind them. Condolence to the NSA boss, Professor Chumesi. Thank you very much, Inko Joseph. There's another message here. Just quickly retrieve it. This one is from McWhite in Ashaiman. Good afternoon, sir. The doctor is comparing Ghana to other countries to put up a defense. Why do we always compare ourselves to other countries to suit our situation? Your earlier speakers spoke about how long these stadia started. Our big men never talk about anything good they have seen and are trying to implement. The only ones that will favor them. If a country is unable to complete a project before a tournament, you think is a good reason why you should also repeat the same? Okay. Thank you very much, Mark White from Ashaiman. Let's do some more messages here on the Joy Sports link. We always provided the funding, but funny enough, we always compare ourselves to African countries. Seriously, we like comparing ourselves too much, and we should just do the work. And why are we not blaming a lot of... Okay. Now, and then he says he speaks a lot like Ken Oforiatta, and I hope he's not trying to give us... okay, look, this is not very clear. This is not clear. This message is not clear. Can you... put it together again? Okay, this one is from Guy Fox in Tema. Nathaniel, question. How is it that Kweku Fuswasari and Dr. Kweku Fuswasari, you mean, and his outfit are finding out belatedly what CAF standards are for stadia when we are supposed to be hosts? Does this not smack of poor administrative culture? that has collapsed sports in this country. It's shocking. Okay, I'll let Doc respond to that very shortly. All right, some more messages in a bit, but we'll activate the phone lines very shortly so that you can join us. Remember, it's 0302 216-541, 0302-216-541, and 055-11-11997. If you're outside of Ghana, or if you're out of Ghana, plus 233-3022-16541, and plus 233-55-11-11997.
Okay,
Doc,
let me answer this question.
Yes.
First, we thought we were going to have the two stadia. Okay, that's two stadiums, Accra and Legon, and have the men for the for Accra, have the women for Legon. So it's not poor administration. Then CAF said no at the last minute, and they said now you have to use 4 stadiums. You can check. Whoever wrote the message, he can check with CAF when they brought in the last minute instructions to say that we needed 4 stadiums instead of the 2 that we had earlier planned. So that is not poor administration. So, and then they went ahead to say that we needed also for the 2 different groups. So, you know, we have women and we have the men. So for the 2 different groups, each group should have 2 stadiums and 4 training venues. So it is not our mistake. And I'm good he's brought up this issue. It is not that we sat down to the last minute only to realize that this is World Cup. That was not part of the initial program, I'm afraid. And but I welcome your comment, but that's not the situation.
All right, so let me just quickly announce the phone lines again. 0302-216-541, 0302-216-541, 055-11-11997, 055-11-11997. Doc, the opening ceremony is very crucial and key. How are preparations going in that regard? Because the opening ceremony has a lot to cover for what we probably may not have done with publicity and all of that. It goes to send a very big message. What's being done for the 8th, and what feedback are you getting from the team responsible for that?
Yeah, I've been involved in the selection of the company from the openings for the opening ceremony, and even at the highest level. We sat down and selected this company called Vivendi, and they've been in since I think 2 months ago, or for the past 2 months I should say, and they are assiduously preparing as we speak now. They are at Legon, they are also bringing in a lot of items to ensure that we get one of the best ever. The president wants to leave a legacy, and when you're doing games, the opening ceremony is extremely cardinal and important. And so we have a very competent company that has a good track record, and that is geared and willing and extremely desirous to give us one of the best ever in the business.
Before you go on, Doc, let's just pick the message from this caller. Good afternoon.
Yeah, good afternoon.
Thank you for joining us on the show.
My pleasure. This is Obama calling from Okwasi.
Please go ahead.
Yeah, I've listened to your guest, Dr. Zare, and I must say I'm disappointed with his, submission. To begin with, this kind of lamentation that he's sharing with the public, who are we to go and cause a change? That is why they have been put in charge. He has been put in charge. So if the NSA is unable to manage our facilities well, to the point that last year, I was at Cape Coast Stadium. You should see the mess in which the Cape Coast Stadium is. Not to talk about Esipon. Recently, you saw the one that they showed about the Aliyu Mahama Stadium. You see, the NSA has been very, poor in terms of handling our facilities. And some of us, we have lost hope in the whole system as far as football management is concerned. Now, I want to use one stone to kill 2 birds. So let me touch briefly on the DFA, the demo against DFA. I heard Henry Asante Chum also he has taken a posturing which I think generally is okay for the FA's image. But as to whether his bosses agree with him is another thing. Because looking at the posting of Odro Sapo and Keto Kreku himself, I don't think these guys mean well for Ghana football. And earlier, for me, my position is that government should intervene, not interfere. But like we always say, there are so many ways of killing the cat. Even if it will cause FIFA to disband Ghana from, the federation, so that we can get our football on track, we should do that. Because until we get these people out of the GFA, I'm sorry, I don't see Ghana football going anywhere. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you very much, Doc. Yes,
Obama,
very well.
Thank you very much for your comment. But with all due respect to you, I don't work for the NSA. I'm not at the National Sports Authority, and so I cannot speak for them. And that is why I made a submission that if as Ghanaians we think that the law empowering NSA to maintain our facilities, and if it is not happening as expected, we can relook at the law and make sure that at least we come in with, I will, wherever I go, promote the PPP, the public-private partnership, if that is going to work well for us to sustain our facilities. If we had some of these facilities already in place, the money we sank in, and we sank into this infrastructure since 2008, if they had been properly maintained, maybe we wouldn't have been where we are at the moment. So, Obama, I share your sentiments, I share your emotions, I share your feelings, but please, I'm placing on record, I don't work for National Sports Authority.
Let's get on the phone line again and have a conversation with another caller. Hello, good afternoon.
Hi, hello, Nuka. This is directly to Kweku for just see, Kweku, doctor, sorry.
It is all right. Don't worry about that. That's just a title.
Yeah. But my worry is your last statement you just made. I think that it will be a big failure on your part. Not to say that you are not doing the good job, but it will be a big failure if the committee does not put in place a good, sustainable plan after this. And that's it.
Oh, That is why I am saying that.
No, Kweku, please, I beg you. Because let me finish and then you can respond.
Yes, you
I beg you.
Yes.
Because I have some other points to make. My second point is, Nathaniel, I think that the football guy who came to sit there, the guy from the GFA.
You're talking about the spokesperson for the FA. Yes.
Yes. Charlie, we know Pinam crowd. We know ask him the questions we for ask him. Look, the football way they play for this country, people they travel all the way, they come watch kiddies, they watch football, they play football. But our juvenile football is I wanted to use a word. Charlie, no, this when we used to watch television, sitting there, they were the people who were commenting on under 17 matches. We hardly watched Black Star. It was under 17 throughout. Or that day I'm a time. This time we don't even watch. The feminine football says if they play for stadium, the announcement, they hear. You go here now, they play finish. Oh, I was 7-0. Just imagine if the stadium is full to capacity.
Very well, very well.
My point, I beg.
Very well. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
So, what was his point to me? Because we mentioned Henry, and then he said he was disappointed. I made that. You see, it's about the law. We're talking about statute. The law of the land says all national sporting facilities must be handled by the National Sports Authority. I cannot sit here and change it. That's why I said even this facility that we have built at Botiman, if we don't implement what the president wants us to do, turning it into a university of sport for development, at the end of the games, then NSA must take over. That's what the law says. And I'm saying that if we think that the NSA is not one, we have to look also at the point at this point. Is the NSA being resourced enough to do that? Is the law, or do we want the law also to be changed? Is the law permitting NSA to do that, or has become ineffective? Has the law become ineffective? If it has, what can we do? We cannot sit down and bury our head in the sand, play the ostrich. If things are not working as a country, what do we do? What sort of reforms do we propagate, do we implement to make sure that these facilities are sustainable? It's not that we are comparing ourselves with what is happening, but there must be a reference point. If others are able to do it, why can't we do it? That's my point.
Sure. Thank you, Doc. Last set of messages and then we wrap it up here. Nat, good afternoon. The LOC chairman should give us a break. Then the NSA hosted the LOC for more than 2 years. No rent, no water bill, no light bills. Meanwhile, they had a budget for all those items.
We paid light bill.
Okay, so that is to you, Bauer. NSA showed us those responsibilities and sit there and compare NSA to Arsenal. Did the state institutions use those facilities for free over there? Okay, this is from an NSA staff. Okay.
Yeah, I personally went to the NSA. I told them that bill us.
Okay.
So we paid bills.
Very well.
Maybe they were maybe, yeah, but they should go and check their records.
Okay. All right. Okay, so this final one says this Africa Games is being organized. Games is being forcefully organized to prove a point and shy away from political whipping. Themes seem to be falling apart. Doc, we'd like to extend our gratitude to you. Thank you so much for making the time this afternoon. And let's make time and have a conversation another time.
Absolutely.
We're very grateful to you. And we're looking forward to having a successful event in the face of all of these. Thank you so much, Doc.
I want to thank you for the opportunity, and I want to thank all those who were able to come through with their comments and all that. The games are for us. Whatever it is, we have it. We have to make it work. I'm pleading with Ghanaians to position themselves to be able to welcome Africa, the entire African continent. Those who are coming in, businesses, businessmen, and what have you, position yourself in such a way that you can benefit. Let's be good ambassadors. We know that we are very good when it comes to hosting foreigners. So let's explore that. My appeal to them is that the games are here. Let's embrace everybody. Let's make the most of it. Thank you very much for the opportunity.
Thank you. Thank you all so much for listening to the show. And we are going to be carrying this on some more as we build up to the games. Do remember that the Game Park Games pick 1 to pick 4 lottery draw will be held this evening at 6 p.m. on Adom TV. You have to make a date because you can end up winning some good cash and some other mouth-watering prizes. This is how we wrap it up here on the Joy Sports Link on Joy 99.7 FM. Immediately after the news at 2, we will have Kwame Dazi and the rest of the team bring us Showbiz A to Z, and you wouldn't want to miss the big conversations right here on the show. Thank you all very much, and we'll bring you another Joy Sports Link next weekend on Saturday at the same time. My name is Nathaniel Attoh, and I have love